Wayne Gretzky was never drafted. And that's not the only thing you didn't know about the Great One. He isn't just the best hockey player ever, he's a living legend, a cultural icon, and a guy with some seriously unexpected stories, from political connections to shocking trades, quirky habits, and game-changing moments. There's so much more to Wayne Gretzky than you'd expect. So here are the 10 things you probably didn't know about the greatest goal scorer of all time. Let's start off with the most recent. Did you know Wayne Gretzky has a connection to Donald Trump? Well, somewhat. Just this past month in November 2024, Gretzky made headlines for being seen at Trump's presidential victory party. Not only that, he was rocking the classic Donnie T MAGA bucket. Whether you rock with red or blue, you cheered or cringed, it was a move that got everybody talking. But don't mistake this as a random political statement. Gretzky has been seen golfing at Trump's courts in West Palm Beach, Florida on multiple occasions. Now, as far as if they've ever hit the links together, that's unknown. But imagine what 18 would look like between those two, the Great One and the Apprentice. Trading tips, Wayne on behind the net plays, Trump on the boardroom battles. Love it or hate it, Gretzky stepping into such a divisive political moment showed that he's not afraid to support what he believes in, even if it means he'll get some flack. Although he's used to being the headline, this was probably not one Gretzky fans had ever expected. But it proves he's more than just a hockey icon. Speaking of icons, most fans don't realize Gretzky isn't the only sporting legend in his family. His daughter, Paulina Gretzky, married one of the biggest names in golf, Dustin Johnson. This guy's been a force at both the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour. And together, Paulina and Dustin have created a sort of sports dynasty. The Gretzky-Johnson connection is about more than just trophies. Paulina is Dustin's biggest supporter, showing up at tournaments and helping him through career highs and lows. And Wayne? He's fully embraced his role as the ultimate sports dad.
Going into tournaments that you're pulling so badly and wanting somebody to win so desperately that your stomach hurts when you're watching. And
you've got to wonder what family reunions are like for the Gretzkys. Golf balls flying one way, hockey pucks the other, and probably a few championship trophies doubling as flower vases. What's crazier is how seamlessly the Gretzky family transitioned from hockey to golf. Although we do know hockey players love a good 18 in the offseason. From Wayne to Paulina to Dustin, the competitive spirit runs deep. This family doesn't just win, they redefine what it means to dominate. And speaking of dominating, Wayne Gretzky is one of the biggest dominators the NHL's ever seen. And if there's one thing he loves to dominate the most, it's records. Let's get one thing straight. Wayne Gretzky doesn't just hold a few records. He basically owns the NHL's records book. We're talking 61 records to his name. That's not just impressive, it's damn near untouchable. His most famous record? The 894 career goals and 2,857 points. To put that into perspective, no one else in NHL history has even come close. Well, until recently anyway. Either way, we can't just call that dominance, it's gotta be a whole other level of greatness. But here's what makes Gretzky different. He's not protective over his legacy. It's like he was never after the records in the first place. It just happened. In fact, he openly roots for players like Alexander Ovechkin, who's been chasing his all-time goals record. Imagine being so good at something that you actually want someone to surpass you.
No, not at all. People ask me about it all the time. You know, I'm good friends with Alex. I'm very proud of what I accomplished with the 894. Nothing can take anything away from that, but if, you know, Alex has been exceptional for our game and for the Washington Capitals. I hope I'm the first guy to shake his hand when he does break the record.
That's the kind of humility that makes Gretzky the great one. Oh, and let's not forget about one of the most ridiculous records he set, scoring 50 goals in just 39 games. That's not hockey. That's Great One level stuff. But this next fact about number 99 is definitely going to blow your mind. Everybody knows Gretzky was just too good. But what most people don't know is he was so good the NHL had to change its rules to make things fair. Well, kinda. It's like the NHL saw how ahead of his time he was and went, whoa, slow down there, bud. Or maybe the rest of the league got tired of him scoring against them, so they signed a petition to nerf him. Seriously. His performance in 4-on-4 situations was so outrageous that the league introduced the Gretzky rule, limiting the number of points a player could rack up during a single power play. That kinda sucks. The fans probably thought so too, as the rule didn't last long. But the fact that a single player could force the league to rewrite its rulebook, that tells you everything you need to know about Wayne Gretzky's impact on the game. He didn't just play hockey, he redefined it. But when it comes to hockey in the United States, he was like one of the founding fathers. You see, in 1988, Wayne Gretzky was at the top of his game. He'd won 4 Stanley Cups with the Edmonton Oilers, and fans couldn't imagine him playing anywhere else. Then came one of the biggest ice-breaking trades in NHL history. Out of nowhere, Gretzky was shipped off to the Los Angeles Kings. Why? Money problems. The Oilers owner, Peter Pocklington, needed cash, so he traded the Great One for $15 million, a few players, and some draft picks. The reaction in Edmonton? Pure chaos. Fans protested in the streets. There hadn't been a trade that serious in the NHL before. And in a Canadian city as well? I know that hurts. Gretzky was more than just a player. He was the heart and soul of that team. But here's the thing about Wayne. He didn't let the trade bring him down. Instead, he embraced his new role in LA and helped turn a non-traditional hockey market into a thriving one. Without Gretzky, who knows if teams like the San Jose Sharks and Anaheim Ducks would even exist. Just witnessing how influential Gretzky was in his prime boggles the mind. It makes you imagine just how he became so nasty. But you see, Wayne Gretzky wasn't always the great one. In fact, his first hockey season as a 6-year-old, he scored just 1 goal. 1. Could you believe that? But his father, Walter Gretzky, saw how much he loved the game and built him a backyard rink. Wayne practiced every single day. That rink became Wayne's playground, where he developed the skills, creativity, and vision that would make him pretty much unstoppable. Just a few years later, at the age of 10, Gretzky scored an unbelievable 378 goals in 1 season. By 13, he had surpassed 1,000 career goals in minor hockey. Can you imagine being the poor kid who had to face him in the net? Just brutal. I'm sure you can just picture the other parents asking his dad what he feeds him. Hey Walter, what are you feeding Wayne, bud? The kid's flying out there. But if you thought Wayne Gretzky was following some strict pregame diet, think again. While today's athletes are ripping protein shakes and counting macros, Wayne was just munching on hot dogs and pizza before games.
I would eat at 12, 12:30 like everyone else, but I always found that by 5 o'clock I was hungry. So depending on what city we're in, if it was Chicago, there'd be pizza in the building. If it was Quebec City, there'd be hot dogs. And in those days, we didn't have power bars and we didn't have Gatorade or Powerade, the energy drinks. And for me, I drank Diet Coke. I found that to be the same sort of stimulation as an energy drink.
And this wasn't a one-time cheat meal. It was a regular thing. Even after his usual pregame meal of steak and potatoes, Gretzky would grab something from the snack bar at the rink before hopping on the ice. It sounds insane by today's standards, but back in the 80s, it was just another quirk that made Gretzky, well, Gretzky. And hey, it clearly worked out as he went on to become one of the greatest hockey players of all time. 99 didn't only dominate the ice, he dominated the sporting world as a whole. So when wedding bells rung, he threw one of the most extravagant weddings in sports history. When he married actress Janet Jones in 1988, it wasn't just a ceremony, it was an event. The wedding reportedly cost $1 million. Which was a massive deal at the time. It was broadcast live across Canada with fans treating it like a royal occasion. The lavish celebration proved Gretzky wasn't just a hockey player, he was a cultural phenom. And what better way to announce yourself to the world than your own wedding and maybe hosting one of the biggest shows of all time. Most people don't know that Wayne Gretzky once hosted Saturday Night Live. It happened in 1989, and let's just say, acting wasn't exactly his strong suit, but fans didn't seem to care. Wayne's willingness to poke fun at himself and step outside his comfort zone showed a different side of the Great One. From awkward jokes to hilarious skits, his SNL appearance added to his already legendary status. But as always, every good thing comes to an end. So when Gretzky retired in 1999, no, not from acting, from the NHL, the league gave him a send-off like no other. Normally, players have to wait 3 years before being inducted into the Hall of Fame, but not Wayne. He was inducted immediately. A move that cemented his status as the greatest player of all time. But his induction wasn't the only way the NHL honored him. There's also his, as we all know, iconic number 99. Unlike other retired numbers, Gretzky's 99 isn't just retired by one team. It's retired across the entire league. This means no one will ever wear that number again. And honestly, that's exactly how it should be, because Wayne Gretzky isn't just a hockey legend. He's a walking, talking symbol of greatness. From his insane records to quirky habits, controversial moments, and game-changing influence, he's a man who transcends the sport.